Men who are caught up in a love triangle sometimes do not turn on their loved ones, sometimes they turn on their mistress. I'm Shavak. Today on Studio 70, we're going to be talking about men that turn on a mistress and why. Now, here are today's shout outs. How would you like to have a shout out in our future video? The only thing you have to do is add a comment in this video with the hashtag word we'll provide you later. How easy is that? Now, you ready for today's episode? See you in the studio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And if you are new, we will
welcome.
introduce ourselves.
I'm Shavak. How you doing today?
And I'm Meju. That's a little name I picked up a long time ago. Long story. But anyhow, thank you so much for being here. Today's topic we're going to talk about in a second. But first, let's do some housekeeping.
Yes, this is for education and entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research and be kind to everyone, friends, family, strangers.
And if you are new here,
Awesome.
we really appreciate you hanging there because we're also introducing something pretty major in terms of our show.
Yes.
And we'll get into that actually in right now. How about that?
Yep.
And
hope you like it.
Well, first, let's talk about the topic. It's called These Mistresses Did Not Know. And sometimes in a love triangle, when you have a man, maybe he's married and has a mistress, people always think the wife is the one that's going to be the one that gets murdered or get in trouble.
So, yeah, we wanted to reverse it this time. And sometimes it could be the wife and sometimes it could be the mistress, right? So we just want to we always do the one with the wife. So we want to just change it around this time and do the one with the mistress,
One
just
with
to
the
have a little
mistress.
bit of.
And these mistresses, they didn't know. They probably figured, hey, everything's gonna be good. I'm with this guy.
Right.
But I don't want to say earth shattering, but what's the big news that we're doing? If you've been following us for a little while, we've been dipping our toe into AI a little bit using that because obviously we're not at the level of like 48 hours or these other guys that, multi-million dollar where they can have an all-star panel of their choosing. We have
The next
starting
best
now
thing.
AI all-star panel. So we use various AI technologies. It's not just ChatGPT. There's other ones that we use
Right.
to get answers. And we've created 4 avatar personalities to represent legal, medical, criminology, and psychology to answer, questions. And we'll get into that. That's going to be really cool. So you need to hang on for that.
Yeah, that'd be
But
awesome.
let me move on to if you guys are interested in the shout outs that we talked about in the intro part. The shout out word today is mistress. So if you can put hashtag mistress down below in a comment of this episode, let us know. That would be awesome. But for right now, what we're going to do, Shrock, what are we going to do next? We're going to show that video. We're going to give about 6 examples.
Yeah, we're going to give 6 examples of innocent, beautiful women.
That were life were taken away.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do that right now. We'll run that through and we'll come back and we'll talk further.
Jane Bennings. She was only 25 years old, born in Nashville, Tennessee. She brought the same discipline and dedication to her passion for cooking, graduating in 2020 from Bridgewater Culinary Arts. Jane spent her career in roles as a chef and also had her own catering business. Blaze Taylor, a former college football player at Arkansas State. He had been arrested and charged for alleged involvement of the death of his pregnant girlfriend, Jane Bennings, and her unborn fetus, according to authorities.
Elisa Silva Sumandi. Elisa wanted to leave her hometown to become a model. She was struggling with financial difficulties, and she began working as a call girl to support herself until she managed to become a model. Now, Bruno Fernandes de Sousa, who was a Brazilian soccer superstar, was under arrest for masterminding the murder of his former mistress, a model and porn actress, whose dismembered body was fed to the dogs. Elisa filed a complaint previously saying Bruno beat her and tried to force her to swallow a pill.
In March 2011, Susana Saneros, 24 years old, was 9 months pregnant, authorities said, and her unborn child died due to lack of oxygen. Gregory Nelson, Jr., wife found out that his mistress, Susana, was pregnant and his child in March 2011. She threatened to leave him. Nelson stabbed Susanna repeatedly, killing her and her unborn baby with a knife from Chipotle, where the two had worked together. Susanna had been 2 weeks away from giving birth.
Jennifer Lindsay Snyder was born on June 23, 1983. Tragically, she passed away on March 18, 2011, at the age of 27. Jennifer was a certified veterinarian technician who worked at Maple Hills Veterinary Hospital in Allentown for the last 4 years of her life. Her love and passion was centered around caring for and rescuing animals. Now, police said David Rampelpart, who was married at the time, carried on a lengthy affair with Jennifer after meeting her at the Maple Hills Veterinary Clinic. But the affair cooled down and David learned Jennifer was pregnant. He shot her 3 times in March 2011 and dumped her body in a rural part of Lehigh County the day before she was to have her first ultrasound appointment.
Phyllis Malone, a 31-year-old woman from Memphis, Tennessee, was found shot multiple times in her car near a service station on September 9, 2008. The investigation revealed that Phyllis had informed Chancey Jones, a former Memphis police officer, she was pregnant and demanded money for either an abortion or insurance for the baby. This reveal led to a confrontation between them, resulting Phyllis began fatally shot by Jones. Chancey Jones was married a police officer in Memphis, Tennessee. He had an affair with a woman named Phyllis Malone, who said she became pregnant. Malone refused to abort their baby and she threatened to tell Jones' wife about their affair. Jones shot Phyllis 3 times, killing her on September 8, 2008.
27-year-old Amy Giordano died after being hit in the head with a tool in her apartment by her married boyfriend Rosario DG Romano, who then dismembered her body and dumped it in a New York pond. He confessed the murder to 3 of his friends, according to the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office. Rosario pleaded guilty to manslaughter in June 2007 of 27-year-old Amy. Rosario killed Amy, disposed of her body, and then left the couple's 11-month-old son in a parking lot of the Delaware hospital. He pleaded guilty to killing his mistress, Amy. Okay, guys, thank you for hanging in there. And if you hang in there this long, we're getting to the really cool AI part. But before we do that, if you could take a moment, like, comment, share, subscribe, really, that would really help us out a lot.
Yeah, we will appreciate that. And what we decided to do, because we had someone that wanted to be a member and maybe didn't know how to be it. So we gave some type of example of where to click when it says join. You click here, which is awesome.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for that question, right, Shirok?
Yes.
And you just click on, you go to view channel, and on view channel where it says where you're subscribed, hopefully you are, and then next to it, there's a little join button. You just click that, and then there's 2 tiers. One is you get episodes early, and you get loyalty badges and custom emojis. But in addition to that, if you go to the other tier, the team studio team lead, you get regular shout outs, like beyond what we do here, a little bit better shout outs and more regularly. And also member only, like, information, like you be the first in to know. So enough of that. We want to get going into our cool AI all-star panel. So here they are. And I'm going to kick it off because I got a question. Actually, let's do this. Sorry, guys. This is a new thing for us. So I want to get to the right little powered by AI. I want to be transparent that this is artificial intelligence. This is avatars that we'll be talking with. And the first one is going to be our psychologist, Carol Kenyatta. Thank you for being here.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
No worries. And Carol, the first question is, why do why do women date married men? Like, why do they get involved with them to begin with,
The reasons why some women might choose to date married men despite knowing they are married can be varied and complex. Here are some possible explanations. Number 1, emotional connection. Some women might feel a strong emotional connection with the married man, which can make it difficult to break off the relationship. Number 2, thrill of the forbidden.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of being involved in a forbidden or secretive relationship can be exciting for some people.
Yeah.
Number 3, low self-esteem. Women with low self-esteem might seek validation and affection wherever they can find it, even in an unhealthy or morally questionable relationship. Number 4, belief in change. Some women might believe that the married man will eventually leave his wife for them. Number 5, temporary fulfillment. For some, the relationship may provide temporary fulfillment of emotional or physical needs without the expectation of long-term commitment. Number 6, manipulation or deception. In some cases, the married man might manipulate or deceive the woman into believing that his marriage is effectively over, or that his wife doesn't fulfill his needs. Number 7, lack of commitment pressure. Some women might prefer a relationship with a married man because it doesn't come with the same pressure and expectations as a relationship with a single man. Number 8, financial or social benefits.
Yes.
There might be financial or social advantages associated with dating a married man, especially if he is wealthy or influential.
That's
Number 9, romantic
the older man.
idealization. The idea of rescuing or being the one true love for a man trapped in an unhappy marriage can be a powerful romantic fantasy for some women. And number 10, past experiences and conditioning. Personal history and past experiences can influence someone's choices in relationships, including patterns of behavior and attachment styles formed in earlier life. Each situation is unique, and the motivations can be a combination of these and other factors.
That's very true. It could be a combination of many of those. Carol, thank you so much for that
Yeah,
question.
thanks,
I do have a
Carol.
follow-up one because it's like, then what are one of the main reasons that men would murder these mistresses? You know, obviously we talked about why do they date them, but then why do married men tend to want to murder their mistress?
One of the main reasons men murder their mistresses is often linked to the fear of exposure or the potential
sense.
consequences of the affair being revealed. This fear can stem from various factors, including, number 1, threat to marriage or primary relationship. The mistress may threaten to disclose the affair to the man's spouse or family, which could lead to divorce, loss of reputation, and other personal
They're powerful.
and social repercussions.
And we're going to see
Number
that in the
2,
video.
emotional conflict and control issues. Intense emotional conflicts, possessiveness, jealousy, or a desire to exert control can escalate into violence. In some cases, the mistress may wish to end the relationship, leading to a violent reaction from the man. Number 3, financial motives. The potential financial consequences of a divorce or the mistress demanding money or support can also be a significant factor. And finally, number 4, psychological factors. Underlying psychological issues, such as personality disorders, impulsivity, or a history of violence, can contribute to such extreme actions. These factors can interact in complex ways, and each case can have its unique circumstances.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. That was awesome.
That makes sense. Thank you so much, Miss Dr.
See,
Carol.
yeah. Shrak, I'll have
Yes.
you go next.
So this is for the legal expert. It's James Richmond. Thank you for
It's
being
always
here.
nice being here.
Thank you for coming to our AI. The question I have for you is, do people who murder based on a crime of passion, do they get a lighter prison sentence?
Yes, individuals who commit a crime of passion typically receive a lighter prison sentence compared to those convicted of premeditated murder. A crime of passion is usually classified under voluntary manslaughter, which acknowledges the influence of strong emotions and the lack of premeditation.
Okay.
Some key differences are: premeditated murder, first-degree murder, involves planning and intent to kill, often resulting in the harshest penalties such as life imprisonment or the death penalty in some jurisdictions. Second-degree murder, intentional killing without premeditation, carrying severe but slightly less harsh penalties than first-degree murder. Voluntary manslaughter, crime of passion, recognizes that the killing occurred in the heat of the moment due to provocation or a sudden emotional reaction. Sentences are typically lighter, reflecting the reduced moral culpability. Typical sentences are first-degree murder, life imprisonment without parole or the death penalty. Second-degree murder, 15 to 25 years to life imprisonment.
Wow.
Voluntary manslaughter, 5 to 20 years in prison, depending on the circumstances and jurisdiction. Factors influencing sentencing include provocation. The level and immediacy of provocation can impact the sentence length. Emotional state. The defendant's emotional state at the time of the crime is considered. Circumstances. Specific details of the crime, including the relationship between the victim and perpetrator. Criminal history. A clean record can lead to a more lenient sentence. And also the remorse and cooperation. Demonstrating genuine remorse and cooperating with authorities can also influence the sentencing outcome. While crimes of passion generally lead to lighter sentences, the final decision is influenced by the legal system's assessment of all relevant factors.
That's interesting because,
Yeah.
one can say, well, was he, passion? And then if something gets down to involuntary, I mean, I know I've seen that when, like, say if you're drunk and you run over somebody or whatever. I don't know. That's a little tricky.
Yeah.
What do you
It
think?
is.
I mean, I want to know, like, okay, you go ahead. You asked your question.
Well, that was definitely interesting to have to know that information. So it definitely varies. But the second question I have is, are crimes of passion is usually a first degree crimes?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about too, as well. That's a good question.
No, crimes of passion are not usually first-degree crimes.
That's interesting.
Crimes of
Huh.
passion often fall into the category of second-degree murder
Second degree.
or
Okay.
voluntary manslaughter because they typically occur without prior planning. That means the sentence is often between 5 and 25 years. The perpetrator acts in a moment of intense emotion,
So they
provoked by a
say.
situation that leads to a loss of self-control. Legal classifications can vary by jurisdiction, so the exact charges and definitions can differ.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that
Because
is.
somebody
Because
can
it
say,
says,
well, I planned it out, but so you're saying somebody can plan it out, but plan it out to where it appears to be like for the moment and get a lighter sentence and get out in 10 years?
but it also states 5 to 25. That's a big
That's a big
range.
one because it
Like,
depends if
yeah.
it's second or third degree, what degree it falls in.
Yeah.
I don't know. That to me, and how do you tell somebody's genuine? I don't know. There's a lot of subjectivity, and I think that's why people get upset.
Exactly. I
But
agree.
I want to talk to Chin Lee. He's our criminologist, and I have a couple questions for him because, in addition to working behind the scenes, obviously he gets involved with a lot of the crime investigation itself. So appreciate you being here, Chin.
It's always a pleasure speaking with you both.
Thank you. So the question I have is, there, in the investigations you've been involved with, what are some of the signs, warning signs, I should say, that would cause a partner to kill another?
That's a good point. Good
Yes,
question.
there are several warning signs that may indicate a partner could potentially become violent or lethal. While these signs do not guarantee that violence will occur, they are often present in cases of severe domestic violence and intimate partner homicide. Some of the warning signs include history of violence. A partner who has previously been violent or abusive is more likely to become violent again. Threats of violence or death, verbal threats to harm or kill the partner, threats with weapons, or talking about death in a way that suggests they are considering it. Possession of weapons, owning weapons, especially if they have been used to threaten or intimidate the partner. Extreme jealousy and possessiveness, obsessive control over the partner's actions. Extreme jealousy and accusations of infidelity. Stalking behavior, monitoring the partner's movements, showing up uninvited, or making frequent, unwanted contact. Isolation, efforts to isolate the partner from friends, family, and other support systems, making it harder for the partner to seek help. Escalating violence, increasing frequency or severity of physical violence. Substance abuse, abuse of alcohol or drugs, which can exacerbate violent tendencies. Sudden changes in behavior, drastic changes in mood or behavior, especially if they become more aggressive or erratic. Controlling behavior, extreme control over daily activities, finances, and social interactions. History of mental health issues, a history of mental illness,
I agree
particularly
with that.
untreated, or poorly managed conditions, can sometimes be a factor. Forcing sexual acts, coercing or forcing the partner into sexual acts against their will. Financial control, taking complete control of the partner's finances. Limiting their access to money. And destruction of property, destroying belongings, breaking things, or other acts of vandalism as a form of intimidation. If someone is experiencing any of these warning signs, it is crucial to take them seriously and seek help. This might include reaching out to domestic violence hotlines, shelters, or law enforcement agencies to ensure safety.
That's a really good point at the end. And for you folks out there, I know that was a wide range of things, but if you notice that there are escalating factors, as Chin mentioned, or something that changes out of the ordinary, be watchful for that and, take the precautions.
Right.
Chin, I'm curious that in your, the investigations, I know you're mostly, usually behind the scenes, but through the stuff you've been involved with, like what's the percentage of murderers where the mistress is like the victim?
The specific percentage of murders where the mistress is the victim isn't commonly detailed in standard crime statistics. Most crime data, such as those collected by the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting Program or the Bureau of Justice Statistics, typically categorize homicides by the relationship between the victim and the perpetrator more broadly, for example, intimate partners, family members, acquaintances, strangers. However, studies and research on intimate partner violence and homicide might contain more detailed information on this subject.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Looks like
Right.
I need to dig a little deeper on that one.
But I wanted to also elaborate what Chin said was that, when these changes happen, sometimes these women, they think they can change a guy, because they see
Hmm.
this kind of behavior and it's like, oh, I know what he needs and I can change it. Sometimes
Yeah.
you really can't. It's the personality at that time. And you trying to change it, maybe you can try, but it, it just doesn't work, just to let you know. Now, one for our medical doctor, Evelyn Owens. How you doing?
Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for being here. So, how long can DNA exist in victims' clothing after death?
DNA can persist on a victim's clothing for varying periods, depending on several factors, including environmental conditions, the type of fabric, and how the clothing is stored. Number 1. Environmental conditions. DNA degrades faster in harsh conditions.
Mm.
Exposure to sunlight, heat, moisture, and microbial activity can accelerate the degradation of DNA. Number 2. Type of fabric. Some fabrics may better protect DNA from degradation. For example, natural fibers like cotton might retain DNA longer than synthetic fibers. And number 3. Storage conditions. Properly storing clothing in a cool, dry place can help preserve DNA for longer periods. Avoiding direct sunlight and minimizing handling can also help. In controlled conditions, DNA can persist for many years. For example, in forensic laboratories, DNA has been successfully recovered from decades-old evidence.
Decades.
Wow.
However, in real-world conditions, especially if exposed to the elements, DNA might degrade significantly over a shorter period, potentially within weeks to months.
Weeks.
That is
That is
really interesting.
interesting,
That's pretty cool.
Evelyn.
So,
Yeah.
one of the things that I was thinking about is, with the DNA, we've seen some cases where that has really
Mm-hmm.
been a key thing, even after the elements and all
Yes.
that, like in the bone and all that stuff.
Yes. The bone marrow.
This is really cool. Let me switch over here. I want to thank our all-star panel. That is really cool.
Thank you so
I really
much.
appreciate that. Let's go back to us here real quick. We'll wrap it up. So, guys, that's the first time we're using our AI all-star panel.
First time.
We realize that some of the
Love it.
questions, as we go back and improve this, we realize some of the questions maybe we need to ask, the different personalities, different types of questions. This one was a little tough one because this was a very general topic. When we get into either Chris Watts to Peterson, Morphew, all these other cases that we cover, this will become even cooler because we're going to ask very targeted questions in that field for that particular case. And I know in the past when we dealt with the Chris Watts one, the AI one that we did, maybe I'll include that at the end of this episode as a link if you haven't seen it. That one, the AI picked up a lot of information that we didn't even know, like I didn't even find. So, really cool stuff. And I hope you guys like it. But I want to, Chirac, give you the last word and some of your thoughts on this whole thing.
Yes, I think this is interesting. First, I would like to say thank you again. I always want to be appreciative to the people that's watching and what you think about this AI. This is something that's going to be continuous. This is part of our niche. This is something that be passionate to know, because AI, they the experts, right? A lot of people are using AI now. It's the way of the world. So we actually want to implement that inside of our, panel or episode that we are doing. And so you will be seeing a lot of this and a lot of us.
Yeah, because as a small channel, especially, we don't have access to a lot of people, and we don't have access to a lot of people that are directly on the case. So a lot of times we can find that information using artificial intelligence. So it's basically,
and it's not just the access to people. People are busy now, and it's like if we was to get to someone, it's like, okay, I'm doing A, B, C, and D. I mean, everyone is busy. The time sometimes doesn't match. When we want to do the show, they might not be available. So we don't want to just say that because we definitely are growing. We have comments saying that we are going to blow up, and we are.
We want to be known as a channel that is really, and of course, I'll still do my deep analysis, like I did on the survey.
Yes, we want to make sure
I'll still do all that stuff as well, but this will complement this. This will be part of our usual show because we'll be able to get in more of the details into these cases and more aspect utilizing these technologies. And we want to be known as, I want to say, I haven't seen it in my scope, and I watch a lot of true crime. We want to be the first channel that basically integrates AI technology into its discussions.
Yeah, we the first, remember that.
Yeah. So you're going to see a lot of changes to some of our, banners and different things that we're going to be integrating this. Anyhow, that was a long commercial for us, but we really appreciate you guys. And
appreciate you.
Wait till we do the next one on this one. We're going to even improve it. But when we talk about specific case,
Studio
this AI
7-0.
stuff, Avatar is going to go into a huge part of this next time.
Studio 7-0.